from behind. There's a chain reaction. There was a lot of karts running into one another. Josh was on pole position. He actually got the lead pretty comfortably to turn 1. And midway through the turn, the chain reaction just shunted him off, and he went right to the back of the field, and he fought back well to get into the top 20. But he was having an eye on winning that pre-final and getting on pole position here. So he was very upset. But Josh, we know, has been super, super quick all weekend long. And so the number 27 kart is going to be on fire, I reckon, here as the karts are released off the grid, ready for their first of their 2 formation laps. Row 10, we've got Damian Wisnicki and Elin Shehin. And then on row 11, we've got Ralph Aron and Rinus van Kalmthu. Row 12, Thomas Issa from Jamaica, caught up in a huge pileup that we had in the first corner of the previous race, one of about 10 drivers that were, and Thomas, again, he's much, much better than that 12th row of the grid would suggest. Watch for kart 55, the Jamaican driver, who's been very quick all day Friday, all day Saturday, and all day today, but just been caught out in that pre-final. Seda Sakaguchi, also very quick, went well in the Winter Cup, was fastest in qualifying there, and finished in the top 6. The Japanese driver, again, caught out in that first corner pile-up, so we've got a lot of quick drivers further back here. And number 30 shares the 12th row of the grid. Tommy Preining has had no luck whatsoever so far this weekend, and he also got caught out in the pile-up. All the result of this of him being further down the grid from where he should be because of problems. Nick Dunker on row 13 with him. Row 14, Matthias Christensen and Edward Tansley. Jack McCarthy and Yuri Vips share row 15. Row 16, Thomas Salva and Nathan Hedwin. And then alone, Mitchell Chi Min Ji, the Malaysian driver, on the final row of the grid. But there is one missing, Ken, and that was to do with this incident we had at the start of the race. One, I'm afraid, has been disqualified and not allowed to race in this one.
Yes, it's always a little bit of a low note, isn't it? But there we are. Rules are rules, and officials' decisions have to be obeyed. We look on the positive side of things. Just before we talk racers, let's talk bloggers in once again. Mrs. Issa. I don't know your first name, my dear. Mrs. Issa in Kingston, Jamaica, calling Jamaica. Thomas Issa, who Chris Hartley just mentioned, starts on row 12, but really been driving better than that. The same remark applies to his fellow 12th row starter, Senna Sakaguchi, caught up in some mayhem that didn't reflect the real capability of the little Japanese driver. On row 10, completing the top 20, the all-girl team of Eline Shahan from Den Haag in the Netherlands, and the only lady mechanic, as far as we know, Jennifer van der Beek from the Netherlands. Well, this is a 12-lap final for the juniors, so 4 laps short of the distance of the racers in the finals for DD2 and seniors, but nevertheless, this is a 1,350-metre course here at Genk, and therefore a 12-lap race is a meaningful final. Who's your money on in this one? Lando Norris, very, very modest in speaking to Tiff. Lad who came into the Rotax Euro Challenge and immediately was on the podium. No kind of ego, just almost a little bit overawed at his own success, I thought at one time. That was just 1 week after his last Minimax drive. Lando Norris is on pole position alongside Connor Hall. Guan Yu Zhou and Dave Wooder are row 2. Jack Bartholomew and Jay Nijar, row 3. Shanaka Clay and Philip Hamprecht, row 4. And the top 10 completed by Berkay Besler and Marvin Pionke. Well, I do commend Lando Norris and Connor Hall for the way they brought these juniors round. The official asking them to be a bit slower, but they couldn't be too much slower, could they? Beautiful looking start. And it is a start, and Lando Norris and Guan Yu Zhou jump into the first 2 places. Jack Bartholomew has gone with them. Bit of a slow start by Connor Hall, and I think that slow start from the outside may have been the catalyst for the contact that we've seen. Oh, and Guan Yu Zhou is immediately out of the race. If I've read that correctly, Guan Yu Zhou has got a mechanical defect. He certainly didn't appear to be clipped. He's gone onto the inside of the circuit after Marshall Point 2, roundabout at Marshall Point 3 now. And well, Chris and myself are completely neutral across all of these drivers in all of these classes, but your heart goes out to Guan Yu Zhou, who started on the inside of row 2, was running second, lost all power, and everybody has driven past him. Lando Norris leads from Jack Bartholomew, and while I was looking to check that was Guan Yu Zhou, I didn't double check who was the third place driver, but the screen comes to my aid anyway because it's Jay Nijar. Shanaka Clay 4th and Berkay Besler 5th. And Connor Hall, well, he's in 6th place at the end of the opening lap, but really made a sluggish start. I don't know if Chris, who had the glasses up, saw if there was an issue for Connor or if he merely chose to make that steadier start.
Well, further back, it was almost a carbon copy in a way of what happened in the pre-final. It was a big old pile up through the first corner, and several drivers very unlucky to get caught up for a second time. Yuri Vips got caught out for a second time. Senna Sakaguchi has got caught out in that one as well. And I think Josh Price was delayed because having already had a bad grid, he has got delayed by that, and he was only 22nd, I'm afraid, at the end of the first lap, making life even harder for him in this 12-lap race. Look at Lando Norris, though. He's had the perfect start to the race at the end of lap number 2. He had a lead of 1 second at the end of the first circuit. I think it's going to be possibly increased. Jack Bartholomew going well in second place. Jay Nijar third. Shanaka Clay's had a great start up into 4th place now. 2nd, 3rd and 4th running together. You can see them there on screen coming out of the first turn. Then you got 5th and 6th Connor Hall, and right behind him Philip Hampreth. They're running together as a pair. Yes, the gap has grown between 1st and 2nd, and there's a change for 2nd place there as Bartholomew loses out. Jay Nijar up the inside on the way into turn 5, but now Jay Nijar is going to have to try and fend them off down the back straight, which he does successfully. So Bartholomew pushed back down to 3rd place. Shanaka Clay is 4th there, the Sri Lankan, and this is all going to help Lando Norris out because there's more battling further back as well, and Bartholomew loses another place. Shanaka Clay on the way through the hairpin at turn 8 gets through. So Bartholomew there, you can see now in 4th place as he runs through shot, and this is bringing 5th and 6th back into the equation.
Yes, and one of those is Philip Hamprecht, who was 6th at the end of the previous lap. The German, who's shown really good form this weekend, is not quite matched the Brits in front of him, but is certainly a well-deserved top 5 runner. Well, he's in the top 6 at the moment, but a German that I'm very impressed with. Lando Norris, well, what do you do? Maintain your concentration and keep driving smoothly, I guess, is the answer. He's increased his lead by over 1/4 of a second on that lap. Yes, there was the passing moves that would have inevitably achieved that, but even so, 57.063 was the fastest lap of the race by anybody on that lap, and it just serves to build Lando Norris's advantage over the Brits behind him. Jay Nijar in 2nd place, the Sri Lankan Shanaka Clay in 3rd, then a little bit of a gap, and is Jack Bartholomew having to hang on a little bit, Chris? Connor Hall isn't too close to him, but Jack Bartholomew, having shed those places early on, he won't want to go any further back, and Connor Hall definitely beginning to apply the pressure. This is the start of lap 5.
Yeah, just a move there as well from the American coming into turn 8, Darren Keane. Getting himself ahead of Beckers and ahead of Bessler rather, up into 9th place. Change for 2nd place. Shanaka Clay coming out of turn 1 gets ahead of Jay Nijar. And they're all still pulling away from the 3 karts behind them, but they're also losing ground to the race leader, who's now 1.7 seconds clear. We've lost Guan Yuju with these technical problems. Sakaguchi out, McCarthy out, I'm afraid, as well on that first lap. Jack McCarthy, and Lars Lamberel was the driver that didn't turn up for the start because he was disqualified for his part in the first corner shunt at the pre-final. So Lars was a DQ. Otherwise, everybody else is still going, although several of them delayed, as I said, through that first corner shunt. Right, 4 laps complete, nearly 5, and there goes Norris on the way into the final turn. Here is the red nose cone, bright yellow helmet. He's controlling this very nicely from the front of the field. It's down to the others now to try and catch up. Shanaka Clay having got into 2nd place. Let's see what sort of lap time he can do. He was a fraction quicker, only 1/2 tenth, but a fraction quicker than the race leader on that one. And what this next group now need to do is probably, at least for a couple of laps, try and stop overtaking each other and work hard together to try and catch up to Lando Norris, because he has a 1.8 second advantage. As out of the race goes Mark Moore, the Estonian, just beneath us here in the commentary box.
Just going to say thank you for a blog. Meng Meng Leong from Malaysia. Meng, thanks for blogging into us. Your man Mitchell Chimin G started last, 33rd, is up to 21st. In relative terms, a good drive by the Malaysian driver, Malaysia Boleh. But Lando Norris, biggest part of 2 seconds is his advantage over Shanaka Clay and Jay Nijar. As I look at the pit turn, I would put that at about 30 kart lengths perhaps. It was 1.846 seconds. It's going to be increased, 1.90 seconds for Lando Norris. This is the start of lap 7. Shanaka Clay 2nd, Connor Hall, Jay Nijar are third and fourth. Jack Bartholomew looking to arrest the drop because he's down to fifth now. Philip Hemprecht has been sixth for some time. David Wooder, I think neither Chris nor myself in the pre-final gave him too many mentions in a good drive up to, I think it was fifth place, but certainly no lower than sixth. He's in seventh at the moment. Dennis Tice, the Dutchman, 8th. Darren Keane from Florida, United States of America, 9th. And Dennis Beckers, the Dutchman, completing the top 10.
There's Connor Hall in third place, onto the tail of Shanika Clay in second, having got past Jane Ajar. He looks pretty handy at this stage of the race. The green cart, the orange and yellow helmet on the way into the final turn. Those two go. Josh Price, who was on pole for the pre-final, is up to 18th now, but he's quick and he's got a few to pick off now. The one that's made the most progress is Tommy Prining from 26th to 13th, yes, as we see a change for second into turn one, and there he goes. I thought he was looking strong, and Connor Hall now goes into second place ahead of Shanika Clay. So a new second place driver. The gap, though, to the race leader is 2 seconds, and he's got 5 laps, including the one they're on, to try and catch that. So this is very much tilted in favour of the race leader. You never know, though. He's clear. He's just got to keep focus. That in itself is difficult because he's not really being pushed on by anybody, and this is going to require maximum concentration now, not to start tightening up, taking it too easy, and hopefully he can just almost treat this like qualifying laps and count the laps down. But he's certainly not under any pressure for the time being. Out through into turn 11 comes the new second place kart then. There's the race leader going through your camera shots, Norris. There's the new second place kart of Connor Hall. Shanika Clay running in third place. John Ajar fourth. A bit of a gap back then to Bartholomew and Hemprecht rounding out the top 6.
Yeah, just looking a little bit further down, Dennis Beckers is on the climb. The kart number 47, he's gone past the American Darren Keane. Darren Keane holding on to his top 10 slot in 10th place. Ralph Aaron also on a little bit of a climb up into 14th place. Nathan Edwan, maybe he's going to be disappointed with 16th after I sang his praises a little bit earlier on. And Yuri Vips, who right up until today has had a fabulous weekend, only just in the top 30 at 29th place for the Estonian in kart 31. So some disappointments there. However, at the sharp end, Lando Norris's lead 1.867. So if we want to throw a little bit of hope, it's that a lead of 2.0 seconds has been brought down to 1.86. Let's give it the call at the end of the 9th lap, the 3/4 race distance. It was 1.86. It's 1.65. So the good news to Connor Hall and Shanika Clay and the guys behind Lando Norris is you're pulling in the race leader. The slightly more anxious news is there's only 3 laps remaining and he's still 1.6 seconds in front.
So basically needs to be half a second a lap quicker and somehow find a way past. It's a tall order, but it's not impossible, and the momentum very much is with Connor Hall in second place.
Yeah, just having set a fastest lap, Chris.
Sorry. It was 56.464. And he was slightly slower on that previous lap with a 0.5, but he's lapping very consistently. But he's got the momentum. As you're a chasing driver, you can obviously see yourself visibly getting nearer and nearer, and that just builds you with confidence. You know you're doing the right things, and it starts to suck you in. And probably the worst thing that Norris could do now would be to look over the shoulder, because that will start to tighten him up. So just keep... Oh, he is. Don't do it. Keep focusing. Look forward.
It was Chris Hartley on the mic, not me, Lando.
Right, what's he done? A 56.7, a 56.4 for Hall. He's brought the gap down by a further 0.3 of a second. It's gone from 2 seconds down to 1.3 over the last 3 laps. But there's only 2 laps to go, including the one they're on. It's more like 1.5 laps now. So Lando Norris just needs to keep cool, bring this on home. Connor Hall goes onto the back straight in second place. Shanika Clay in third. Jane Ajar, he's fourth, but he's still got pressure from Jack Bartholomew in fifth place.
Yeah, Lando Hall, I guess we would have to say it would be a disaster that takes the race from him from here now. But visibly, the naked eye tells you that Connor Hall is getting closer. The transponder timing screen readings tell you he's getting closer. 1.25 laps remaining. Lando Norris exits the podium curve, goes round the right-hander at the pit lane exit. It was 1.3 seconds at the end of the previous lap. It's going to be less than that this time, I think. 1.0. It's hard to see Connor Hall coming in from here unless the psychology reaches Lando Norris, unless the kart's not handling as well as he would wish, unless there's some other pitfall awaiting him. We don't want a pitfall, we want a genuine race win. Chris Hartley will call them home with half a lap to go.
You can see there side by side on the television cameras for fourth place here. Jane Ajar and Jack Bartholomew running side by side. Jane Ajar is going to lose 2 places as a result of all this. Hamprecht, I think, has got through as well. So a change for fourth, fifth and sixth running together. The top 3, the gap coming down all the time. But a couple of laps short, I think, is going to be the case for Connor Hall, because he's not closing quickly enough, and there's just 2 corners to go now for the race leader. Lando Norris, he's going to win this one surely. Through the last corner he goes. Bartholomew has hanging on to fourth place from Hambrecht and Wooder, but out of the last corner, punching the air, clenching his fist, the winner is Lando Norris. He takes the checkered flag by 7/10 of a second. Second place to Hall, third is Clay. Jack Bartholomew just about hangs on to fourth place by a few thousandths of a second from in fifth place. Philipp Hambrecht, the German driver. Jane Ajar from 4th to 6th, I'm afraid, for him on that final lap, but 6th place still a decent result. 7th place, not too far behind them in the end, was David Wooder, another of the British drivers. Dennis Tees was in 8th place. 9th was Beckers, and a shout for Tommy Priding there from 26th on the grid. At last he had no bad luck in that race and got through to finish in 10th place. So Thomas Priding, who's worked so hard to work his way back up the order after struggles on Friday. Top 10 finish in the end. He'll be relatively satisfied with that. Max Aitken came through a little bit as well to 14th. Josh Price, 16th place, and he'll be feeling desperately unlucky with that. Desperately unlucky. It was a chain reaction, really. What happened to him in the pre-final put him at the back of the grid, and because he was at the back of the grid, he then got held up in this second pile-up at the start of the final race. So desperately unlucky. Had he got round that first corner in the pre-final, we may well have been talking about Josh Price as a race winner and the championship leader here, but I'm afraid for him it wasn't to be. All we do know is that he personally has performed very well this weekend, as has the team, and he still could be a force to be reckoned with in this championship.
Well, on screen now you see the final result. Lando Norris of the RL Racing Department, UK driver, the comfortable race winner by 7/10 of a second. The fast finishing Strawberry racer Connor Hall was the runner-up, and Shanaka Clay from Sri Lanka made the podium in 3rd place. Jack Bartholomew was well worth his 4th place. Philipp Hambrecht, you've heard me say that I've been impressed with him throughout this week. 5th place for him, no more than he deserved. Jane Ajar may be a little disappointed to be 6th, although as Chris said in the final analysis, 6th in the final's not so bad. David Wooder has been solid throughout. 7th to him. Dennis Thijs of Holland in 8th place. Another Dutchman, Dennis Beckers, 9th. And Tommy Priding, at the start of the events here in Genk, we'd say, of course Thomas Priding will finish in the top 10. But he's had something of a Ben Cooper type of series of obstacles in his way. And in the end, that top 10 position really was well worked for.
Yeah, so Lando Norris taking that race victory, controlling it, and what a terrific drive it was from him. There are the rest of the finishers, just outside the front half of the grid. Nathan Edwin, Edward Tansley, all pick up points still. Mitchell Chiminji did all right to come back from there, didn't he?
Just make that point, from stone last up to the top 20. Mitch Chimanji of Malaysia, a good drive in the Maddox Racing team. And hey, let's say hi to the girls. Eileen Shahan, you made it to the final, Eileen, just outside the top 20. And you want me to thank again your mechanic Jennifer van der Beek.
Yuri Vips almost as luckless in the pre-final and the final as Josh Price. There are the points then, provisional points at the end of round 1 for the juniors. Lando Norris is the championship leader. 89 points for the RL Racing Department driver. Fellow British driver Connor Hall is second in the championship for Strawberry Racing. We've had a tweet from Ben Hingley, who wishes all the Strawberry drivers good luck, and Connor Hall today. And there is Connor, second in the championship.
I don't think we should say to Guan Yu Zhou, it's good luck to all the Strawberry drivers, should we? That was heartbreaking for him, Zhou. Yeah. Just 2 turns into the race in second place, and all power was lost.
It's cruel, isn't it? Because he's been up there the whole weekend, and then what a point for it to go wrong. But, you know, it's not football, it's not golf, where it's just really down to you. There are many, many things that can change and go wrong. So good to see the championship points up there. And so going towards Italy in round 2, the championship leader will be the race winner, Lando Norris. So good to see. So we're coming up now to our final race of the weekend, of the day, the seniors, which has James Singleton second on the grid. Harry Webb alongside him on pole position. And down on the grid is Tiffany Chittenden, and Tiffany, I'm pleased to say, is able to grab a quick word with one of the front row starters, James Singleton. Over to you, Tiff.
Okay, so I'm here with Singleton. So you led a lot of the pre-final. Obviously, it was quite close. Places changing all the time. What are your hopes for the final?
Well, get a good start and get away as early as I can, but you never know what can happen. I mean, it could be a good race between me, Harry and Charlie. You don't know what's going to happen, so...
Okay, were you playing it safe in the pre-final, or was that all you've got? Is there some more pace?
Well, I didn't want to risk anything on the last couple of laps, but I think I was trying quite hard, and Harry's a good driver, so we'll have to see how it goes in the final.
Okay, good luck. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
Well done, Tiff, and thanks for that from James Singleton. Still we get the blogs in from around the world. Gabby in Berlin. Gabby, good to know that you're tuned in. We're just sorry you're not with us here, but we'll say hi to you. Gabby in Berlin blogging in. And of course, mention of Charlie Eastwood means Natalie and Johnny back home in County Antrim. Good for you for tuning in as well.
See, Tiff's having a jog down the grid, and she's gone midway down the grid to chat to Ed Brand. Now, Ed won the pre-final, but he's been penalised and has been put back to the 9th row of the grid. So let's hear Ed's thoughts now with Tiff.
So, Ed, like you said, race winner, but what are we doing back here?
Unfortunately, the stewards didn't quite see the same view as I did on the last lap. But, you know, I think a 10-second penalty, it's not so bad, you know. It's still 18. It's a 16-lap race. Anything can happen. We're fast enough, so it just makes it a bit more interesting, doesn't it?
Yeah, you got new tyres, as I have the most around you, unfortunately. But yeah, still going to keep fighting.
Yeah, you know, it's not over till the fat lady sings, as they say, and it's a long race, and I enjoy racing. It's overtaking, and you just got to put up with it, haven't you?
And it's snowing, so that might help or not.
Yeah, it's a bit cold for me though. You know, I've stopped racing in England for this reason.
Yeah, you'd think going to a Spanish team, you'd race in warm places.
Yeah, clearly not. They don't, Beto's from Gran Canaria and it's like 20 odd degrees out there, so he's a bit cold. And I'm not looking forward to going home either, really.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ed. Thanks for being so honest. Thanks for being candid. Just got a little message for Ed when he said that the steward didn't see things quite the same way. I can tell you that Chief Steward Horst Seidel actually had come out of his room at the time of that incident and saw it perfectly. Good luck, Ed. You're very honest. You're a sporting guy. Good luck, everyone.
Yeah, watch Fred coming through. Last year's runner-up in the championship from the 9th row. Tiff there in a cold grid, snowing again. Poor old Tiff's been freezing this week.